Well, let's get started. We have got a lot to get to. I wanted to introduce to you a friend of ours that has been with us 2 times now.
Yeah.
Would you welcome Robert Thompson?
Thank you. Thank
Robert,
you so much.
glad
see
to
you.
have you here.
Yeah, great to be back.
It is always a treat having Robert here. Robert has been the director of this ensemble for how many years? You say 24?
24 years.
24 years. A brilliant player in his own right, one of the top classical players here in Nashville. Has played all kinds of events here, there, and everywhere. And you played in New York City, and you played in Switzerland.
Yep. Played at Belmont.
Played at Belmont, that's right. I saw you played at the Carnegie Hall Studios as well in New York City.
Yeah, that was with one of my guitar duos back about, I guess it was about 2001. Yeah,
yes.
So it's been a while ago. But
we need to have you and your group back on the show.
Oh yeah, we'd love to be here.
That would be great. And Belmont. How long have you been teaching at Belmont?
Well, I started in 1994, so just a year earlier than this group. One of my colleagues came up to me and said, "We really would like for you to start the guitar ensemble." And I said, "Okay. How many people do you think would be interested?" Had 4 people the first semester. I think we had 6 people maybe the next, and it just kind of picked up from there. So it's been a really nice group to see grow. And also, there's just it's a class at Belmont, but it really is like a community of folks that really get to know each other and have fun making music, which to me, that's what it's all about.
And there's how many in this rather large group?
15 different students here tonight, which we'll start off with a quartet, and then we'll break down into some duos.
What's the? Can you introduce
Sure.
the folks in this
Of
quartet?
Of course, yeah. So they're going to play a piece by Jose Perroni called Moliendo Cafe, and it's a flamenco sort of bass piece, Spanish bass piece. Just here, start with this side of the group. This is, pardon me, Madeline Van Arthos. Then we have Hannah Keglowitz, Rachel Chalmers, and then way over on the end down there is Andrew McDowell.
Welcome to all of you. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Brilliant. Brilliant as always. While the next group is getting set up, can you tell us a little bit about that piece? We had some questions that had come in. Since they all play different parts, Ron is asking, do they find it difficult rehearsing alone?
I don't think so, because that particular arrangement is a really nice arrangement, you know. Sometimes if you get an arrangement that's not done very well, I think it can be more challenging. I would guess some of the lower parts, you know, the parts that don't have the melody might be a little awkward to rehearse without the full part. But we often practice in quartets, and when they're first learning it, I encourage them to learn it in groups of two even, so they can get familiar with the part more. Yeah.
Now, how often does this group, or do they get together to rehearse?
Well, we, as a class, we meet on Tuesday and Thursday night. We meet from 5:30 to 7 p.m. on Tuesday night, and also 5:30 to 7 p.m. on Thursday night. So there's 3 hours of rehearsal, and then I often see the students, they show up a little early sometimes, or they stay a little late, or sometimes they schedule rehearsals on the weekends, whenever they can cram it in, because you know they're busy with everything else too.
Rehearsing together is sometimes a luxury, that if you do a lot of playing in groups, you still have to work out your part by yourself. So you still have to do the work that you need to get your part down, and then when it's time to put it together, you put it together, and then you're ready to perform.
That's right.
What are we going to hear next?
Sure, we're going to move into some duets for the remainder of the program, actually.
Oh, wonderful.
So the next two compositions, we're going to do these pieces that were composed by Stefan Oser. And although I don't believe he's from Brazil, these two pieces are actually more of in a Brazilian style. The first piece we're going to hear is a piece called What's Up, and it's by going to be performed tonight by Nicholas Phillips and Ted Bryant.
Fantastic, fantastic. That one has kind of a Latin
Yeah,
jazz feel to it.
Brazilian feel, I think. More of a choro style piece.
Wonderful. All right, we had a couple of questions. While they're getting switched out, let us enter a couple of questions. Hey, I want to answer a question I see right there. William Nelson is saying, would love to be able to do that, but I'm a few years late. Let me just talk right to you, William. You ready? You're never too late. You're never too late to learn and to become the guitarist, especially in the style that you would like to be. I know another one of our wonderful guitar family, George Waters, is becoming quite a classical player. So you don't have to be young to do it. Now, Belmont is an amazing school, one of the top music schools in the nation. We're fortunate to have it, not 10 minutes from where we're sitting, but it is consistently listed as one of the top music schools in the country, and the folks that are able to come through this program are very fortunate. In fact, I saw just the other day that the CMA Instrumentalist of the Year, it was a Belmont alumni, Jeannie Fleenor from Blake Shelton's band, the first female in history to win the CMA Musician of the Year, was at Belmont.
Yeah. I have to say I didn't know that person.
Well, I think this was years ago.
Yeah,
I think it was quite a few years ago.
But wonderful.
She's a fiddle player, violin.
Right,
violin
yeah.
player.
We have a great fiddle program and a violin, string program at Belmont too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It's amazing the quality of musicians that are coming out of there. Tell us about this next piece.
Sure. So we're sticking with the same composer of the last piece, and this is Stefan Oser, and the piece is called Samba Feliz, which Happy Samba. Sean Genet and Dermot Berg. Sorry.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thomas Moore is asking, do the students play other styles as well, such as jazz and electric?
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, most of the students you're hearing tonight are commercial guitar majors. And we also have a commercial guitar ensemble, but I'm blessed that occasionally they take my class. So,
Yeah.
I have the best of both worlds. I have students that not only have some classical chops, but they're also learning jazz,
Yeah.
So that last group, I think especially, kind of represents that.
It's all part of being a well-rounded musician.
I think it's important.
Yeah.
It's crucial in today's industry. So.
And when I was in music school, and I grew up a jazz player, and so I, was playing jazz gigs all over. But when I got to music school, I had to play classical.
Yeah.
And so I remember buying my first classical, and thinking, what on earth am I going to do with this? And it turns out that the training that I received there was some of the best training that I've ever had. Was in the classical world when I was not wanting it.
Right.
I wasn't interested in classical, but it ended up being some of the best stuff I've ever learned.
I often run into Belmont alums just around Nashville, and some of them come up to me and they go, "Mr. Thompson, thank you so much for planting that seed of classical guitar, because it may not immediately take, roots and grow, but many of the students, I've never had someone come up to me and go, I hate you for teaching me classical guitar.
Yeah.
So, it's a nice instrument. I think if you can get a good sound on the nylon string, you actually kind of can go back to your other styles of playing and recognize what a good tone is.
Right. So important to be able to have the finger independence as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in Nashville close to 20 years now, and the most recording work I've ever done has been on the nylon string guitar.
There you go.
I do mostly electric and acoustic live playing, but in the studio, it is the nylon string work that I've done the most with. What are we going to hear next?
Sure. So we've got two more students up here. We've got Nico Phillips and Jackson Fickert-Rowland, and they're going to be playing an anonymous Renaissance piece called Drewries Accord.
Very nice. Tell us a little bit about the classical guitar. How does it differ from a regular acoustic guitar?
The classical guitar has nylon strings. When it was first developed, they used real gut strings, But in recent times, probably since Segovia's era, we actually have calibrated nylon strings. The first three strings, strings 1, 2, and 3, are nylon, and the strings 4, 5, and 6 are usually plated with silver, but there's still a nylon core and wrapped in that. So the guitar has a little darker sound. You can actually shape the sound with your right-hand nail, and that brings up the other point, is the right-hand nail is very crucial to developing not only the volume, but the tone where the nail and the flesh kind of are on the string, interact with the string, engage with it together.
Right.
So,
talking about the strings, with the string, the lower bass strings, the 4th, 5th, and 6th, they're wrapped around, a piece of silk or a fiber or something, as opposed to a steel string acoustic, which that has a core of an actual steel wire through there, of which the lower strings are wrapped around it. So it gets a very different sound. The strings are a little bit more flexible than they would normally be on a steel string acoustic, and the neck is a little bit wider to accommodate that.
Yeah. Yeah, the neck on a classical guitar, I remember when I first started playing, I'd been playing a lot of acoustic guitar, and the neck takes a while to get used to, because it's a little wider. There are a lot of makers these days that are making classicals that have more of a thinner neck, just to help people kind of do that easier. But yeah, it's a nice instrument. I think it actually helps you go back to your other instrument, like your electric or whatever, and play easier, more easily.
Definitely. Tell us about these two wonderful young men here.
All right. So let's see. The next two folks are going to be playing a Joropo by Alfonso Montes. And let's see here. We have Johnny Eisenstadt. And we also have Nicholas Phillips again. And the Joropo is actually a traditional piece of Latin folk music that is actually from Venezuela. Mm-hmm. So they're going to play us some music tonight.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you so much. Is that now? What semester are you guys in? Are y'all freshmen or junior?
I'm in my 3rd semester.
You're in your 3rd semester. What about you?
First semester.
First semester. And so, prior to this, had you had any sort of fingerstyle or classical training?
I played fingerstyle for most of my lessons.
Yeah.
But I haven't played classical.
Yeah.
Before.
And what about you?
I hadn't played classical or fingerstyle before.
Yeah. And so you had to purchase that instrument probably for your class there.
Yeah, beginning of my freshman year.
Yeah. How do you give them any, as far as choosing an instrument,
Sure.
do you give them any direction in that?
Well, many times we don't actually see them. Before they come audition, and then they get accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And so unless they correspond with us, in recent years there are some instruments. I kind of hate to name names, but there are some instruments that we kind of suggest, in this price range, because this is going to be an instrument they will use, and you want them to have something that's relatively nice, but they're not going to spend a lot of their money on this. It's going to be on their jazz or their rock instrument. Gear. So.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, we'll let the next group switch in here. Let me give you a couple of announcements as we're getting going, since we're kind of halfway through the show. We should give something away. Let's give something away, huh? Oh, this is fun. We've got the biggest Groons mug we could find. So someone is going to win a 32-ounce, no, I don't know how many ounces. It's a big mug. So somebody is about to win this. The winner of this is Barry Kane. Barry, thank you so much for being a part of our crazy guitar family. And you have just won an unusually large Grunes. Hopefully you're a coffee drinker. And so, but send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com. And your screen name, what you won, address, phone number if you want, just so we have the information we can contact you and get you this. So congratulations, Barry. That's fun. All right, let me let you know of a couple of things. I saw a couple of you asking about the toolkit that we had on sale for last month. I did have a few of those left over, so I think Neil, our wonderful moderator, is putting those up, putting those links up. So we do have a few of those. So if you're interested, I'm just going to say, for that guitar player in your life, and you're looking for a stocking stuffer, you may, that's a good one. You may check that out. Also, we've got, I mentioned in the store, I thought about this today, we've got Christmas coming up and all the sorts of fun stuff, and we've got, thanks to my lovely wife, we have an exhaustive supply of guitar socks. So if you're interested in getting that guitar player in your life some socks, we have all kinds of crazy guitar socks. Basically, every guitar sock that we could track down, we have gotten. So if you're looking for something fun for the holidays, that's something that's always in there as well. I want to let y'all know we've got our Summer Guitar Gathering Conference, which you can get more information at guitargathering2020.com. And that is in June 10th through the 13th. We've got Australia's Got Talent winner Joe Robinson, fingerstyle guitarist Joe Robinson's going to be with us. Multi-Grammy winning flat picking artist David Greer is going to be with us. And then we just got a commitment for Robin Ford. So Robin Ford's going to be with us as well for our guitar conference. If you're interested, check it out at guitargathering2020.com. Invest a little bit in your musicianship. There's only so much that you can learn just kind of sitting in your room. You have to get out and be with other guitar players. So we offer many events to do that, and this is just one of them. So if you're interested, check it out. A few days here in Nashville, playing guitar. That's what summer is for. We also have, what do we have? We have our fall fingerstyle retreat, which we actually just finished up about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We miss all of our guys terribly. I know y'all are all back, being titans of industry and, all over the globe now. But for a wonderful couple of weeks, or a wonderful few days a couple of weeks ago, we were all just crazy nuts playing guitar with Don Ross and Van Larkins and Ian Ethan Case and all these great guys. We've already put up the page for next year. Next year's page is at fingerstyleretreat.com. 4 days of being in just beautiful autumn here in Nashville, and we already have booked Candy Rat Records artist Antoine Dufour is going to be with us, and then Clive Carroll, arguably one of the best fingerstyle guitarists on the planet, from England, is going to be here with us as well. So it is a crazy great time. You can check out and get all the information at fingerstyleretreat.com. And our other conference, we've got payment plans for both of those. So if you're interested, you can play it in one lump sum, or you can spread it out. We've added that this year. So there you go. I think that is all the things that I need to announce officially for all of that sort of stuff. All right, I want to give something else away. I want to give away some CDs. So we're going to give away 2. You need to grab 2 names for me, okay? The first one to win one of our Candy Rat Records CDs is Maria Calfa de Paul. Maria, good to have you back. Good to see you again. So you have won one, and then somebody else, the name is coming, Carl King. Carl, you have won a CD as well. Both of you guys, send me your information, service@mightyoakmusic.com, and mailing address, things like that, and we will get those out to you. So we have all kinds of wonderful things to give away tonight. All right, we've got a new group.
Yeah.
Another great song. Tell us what we're going to hear.
Sure. So this next group is going to play a Beatles song, pretty well-known Beatles song called "Fool on the Hill," and it's arranged by the great Cuban guitarist Leo Brouwer. He did a series of a number of these Beatles songs for 2 guitars. I think he was going to make a record with another guitarist, and then he wound up having a hand injury and probably getting distracted. But the players on this next one will be Sam Burns and Jackson Fickert-Rowland.
What a beautiful arrangement.
Yeah, all of those Beatles arrangements by Brouwer are really special. They've been done time and time again, but beautiful arranging.
Now, I notice, I know that most everyone here is an undergraduate, but we do have one of your master's students here as well.
Yes, actually, he just played on this last piece, Sam Burns. So he's new to us this semester, so it's great to have him in the class.
But he's working on his master's degree.
Yes.
How long of a program is that for a master's? Is that a 2-year?
It's about a 2-year degree.
Two-year degree.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It's getting to where I can recognize a few faces we've had. About half of the group has been here in one of the 3 times that we've had here before these semesters. So it is always a treat to start recognizing faces and see their continuing journey of focusing on guitar. We had a question that I wanted to get to. Thomas Chamberlain is saying, can you tell us a little bit more about the lap wedges versus the footrest, of which we have a perfect example here between the two of those? Most traditionally, you have always had, up until really recent modern times, it's just been the footrest.
Yes, I remember growing up, being these students' ages, and really the only option was the footstool. You know. But in recent times, there's been a number of vendors and different companies that have created different sitting devices and holding the guitar. Now, what's the name of that one, Madeline?
Or something like that.
Okay.
If you look it up, it'll pop right up.
It's pretty interesting. You actually
So is it a magnet or is it?
Magnet inside the guitar.
Yeah, you put the magnets inside the guitar, and then when you place that against it, it actually holds in place. This is one of my favorite ones that I've seen in recent years, and it seems to be fairly stable. So.
You can adjust the height too.
And you can adjust the height as well. And where did you say it was from? I know you didn't.
The internet. You can get it offline. I think
Probably
Amazon
Strings by Mail.
Strings by Mail.
Yeah.
Amazon
Okay.
might sell it now. So if you look it up, it'll pop up.
Now, you can also get the footrests, and the footrests are you can adjust the height of it, so depending on what is a comfort level for you. You'll notice in the classical playing position, you've got it up on this knee, as opposed to kind of a traditional flat-picking way of doing it, where you would have the guitar on this knee. But in a classical approach, you have it on the other knee, so it always has a consistent angle up here on your, about a 45-degree angle up. Talk to us just for a second about that is a different position.
Sure.
Talk to us about kind of hand position coming around the instrument and where that is supposed to be and how that's different from a steel string.
Well, I don't know if we can actually put a camera on Madeline here.
Okay.
But Madeline, Madeline, to me, has the angle of the guitar as well as Luke, but you want the guitar elevated because you're trying to access the full space of the foot.
And be able to get up to the higher frets. Yeah.
So you'll notice a lot of commercial players, like in the 70s and 80s, the rock players, especially like the punk guys, would put the guitars really low.
Yeah.
And you really can't, do much. But this position right here allows you to, and it also puts the right hand in a really nice position to attack the string and to prepare for the stroke. You get a little nicer and richer sound. So kind of serves two purposes.
The whole idea is that you want to be comfortable when you play and have full access to the instrument. So analyze, even in your own playing, where, physically where you're at. Traditionally, kind of a steel string player, we have a tendency to kind of come over the instrument and hunch over that way. Having it in a classical position forces you up, and your hand is then at a comfortable playing position up here and a comfortable one down there. So it's a different approach and different reasonings behind it, but it does make a lot of sense. If you're interested in getting way up to the top of the neck, that's a good way to do it. What are they going to be playing for us?
Yeah, sure.
Today?
So this next piece is a really pretty well-known piece by Egberto Gismonti, who's a Brazilian composer, and Agua, Vinho, Water to Wine. And we have Luke Sunderland and Madeline Van Arthos again, which I have to just say briefly, Madeline is going to be leaving us.
No!
I know, but for a good reason. She's graduating. She just had her senior recital recently. So thank you, Madeline, for all that you've done in the ensemble, and thank you for being here tonight.
Madeline, where's home for you?
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh, North Carolina. It's not too far away.
Yeah.
How'd the senior recital go?
It was terrifying, but I got through it. It went well.
How much music did you have to prepare for a recital like that?
30 minutes. 60% was classical, and 40% was commercial.
Did you have, I imagine, a good portion of that, if not all of it, was probably had to be memorized?
All had to be memorized. Yeah.
All had to be memorized.
Sure, that was the scary part.
Yeah.
The rest was okay.
Yeah. Wonderful. Did you have a group playing with you, or was it mostly
It was
yourself?
just me, except for one piece. I did Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, and I had a saxophone and keys player, so that was it.
Good.
Yeah,
What do you hope to do after graduation? Sorry to put you on the spot. As long
it's
as we're
fine.
sitting here, are you going to graduate in right now in In December?
Actually, I cannot graduate. I'm a music therapy student, so
Oh,
I
wonderful.
have a 4-year undergrad and then a 6-month internship, and then I can graduate. So it's a little ways off, but
Yeah.
I'm almost there. So I'm hoping to do music therapy at a hospital.
And what a tremendous need for music therapy.
Yeah.
It's a great work, and we need good people in it that are doing real serious work. I know we're familiar with a lot of good organizations, Med Rhythms up in the Northeast, and they're doing just some cutting edge stuff with music therapy.
Yeah,
Just great.
it's
So
great.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Cool tonalities in that one.
Yeah,
That
isn't
one
it interesting?
kind of goes some different places.
Oh yeah, Gismonti. You never really know where it's going next sometimes, but he's a brilliant composer. So.
We had a couple of folks ask about, Barry is asking, are these arrangements available? If folks wanted to find some arrangements of these.
Some of these are more readily available than others. I've been collecting sheet music and purchasing sheet music since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then Belmont obviously gives me a budget to buy. So That arrangement's a little tricky to get a hold of, quite
Yeah.
honestly, because it was in a book I found from the Netherlands,
Yeah.
and there's a few other arrangements, but that one hasn't been published yet. So
When the video finishes processing here tomorrow, I will put all of the list of what the songs were and the composers and the performers. We will put that in the description of the YouTube video, so that you can kind of know what these are, and you can try and research them. And I mean, as far as trying to find some of these arrangements, just type what I put down there, the name, the title, the artist, and or the composer, and see what you come up with. I mean, there are some really good companies that kind of specialize in classical guitar repertoire. What are some of the ones that you gravitate toward?
the one at least domestically, is Strings by Mail, and they're up in Michigan, and they have a wonderful catalog of music, and they stock a lot of the pieces, that are in print these days.
Strings by Mail.
Strings by Mail. Yeah.
.com, I assume.
Yes,
Something like
I
that.
think
Okay.
so. Yeah, and they sell strings, but they sell a lot of sheet music and CDs and stuff, and there's a lot of other vendors in Europe, that I sometimes access as well.
Yeah.
So, but this next piece is actually, you can purchase it, and it's by Celso Machado. It's a piece called basically Images of the Northeast is the translation from Portuguese, and the players on this next one is Rachel Chalmers and Hannah Keglovitz.
I have a question for you. You're Rachel? You're Hannah.
Hannah, yeah, she's
To both of you, like, how long have you been playing guitar? Since you were a kid?
For 9 years.
9 years. Where's home for you?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. And what year are you? Are you
I'm a sophomore.
sophomore? And so this is what, your third semester of doing classical guitar? What about you, Hannah?
I've been playing guitar since I was like very little. I'm a junior, so this is my fifth semester. Yes.
What's your major?
I'm music therapy.
Music therapy as well. And what's your major?
Music education.
Music ed. Okay. So for a music education major, how much guitar do they have to take? I assume that would be her primary instrument.
Yes. Well, actually, they take a lot of guitar. That's the enjoyable thing, I think, about the degrees these days. They can actually integrate an instrument they love and then work that around the curriculum of the music education degree. So, and also the music therapy degree.
It used to be, back in the old days, music ed was, trombones and trumpets and clarinets and things like that. Nowadays, guitar is being so much more widely used, and some of the guitar programs, I know even at my son's school, high school, they had more people in the guitar program than they had in the band program. I helped teach a wonderful program over the summer that trains band directors in how to play, crash course in how to play guitar, so that they can have a guitar class coming up. And so in 1 week, we teach them ukulele and guitar, just enough to get them where they on their way, because they need to do it. So many guitar programs are coming up now. Wonderful. What piece are we going to hear?
So this is Images of the Northeast by Machado, Celso Machado.
Fantastic. Before they got one more piece to play here as we're winding into the home stretch here. Let me get to a couple of questions that have been asked here. CJ Ray is saying, all classical musicians read music. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I don't know that you could find tablature for that last piece. Yeah, reading music is really a skill, as we both know.
Yeah.
Is something that's really crucial to not just becoming a guitar player, but becoming a musician.
That's right.
And all of our students that come to Belmont, some of them have never read music before, so we get them in reading lab pretty early on. So it's a job skill they need.
Yeah,
definitely.
Tab is great. You're going to see tab, in a lot of guitar literature. It's a shorthand that only guitarists use, unfortunately. So in the real world of playing with other musicians and things like that, you'll never see it. I've been playing a long time, and I've never been sitting in a studio session and the guy plops down some tab and says, "Hey, can you read this?" Nope. We may not always have music, but we never have tab. So if you're banking your whole musical career on, I don't have to read music because I can read tab, well, that's great. As long as you never plan on playing with anybody else, you'll be fine. So tab is a great tool. It's just not something that you're going to see a lot in real music, in playing situations. So you always need to know enough. You don't have to be able to sight read this kind of stuff, but you need enough musical skills to be able to pull it off the page. Quarter notes, eighth notes, and rhythms, and be able to figure that out. So it's an important skill. Doug is asking, does the university have to pay to use the music in an educational setting?
Okay, that's a good question.
Good question.
The school actually buys the music, and we keep it in our library, which gives us the right to use it for this class, for example.
Right.
So that's how we get away with that. We of course, Belmont's very interested in following any kind of copyright procedures and all that. Yeah.
It's we could do a whole month's worth of shows on copyright issues. Basically, the deal, this is an educational setting, but you purchased it, like if you purchased that music and then made it into a book and gave it to 100 of your students, that would be bad. Yes, that would be clearly against copyright law on all that sort of stuff. So there are rules that you need to follow with that. But everybody's reading off of music here. What is this last piece that we're going to hear?
Sure. This last piece is by Fernando, who is a great and a very, very well-known, important guitar composer. Wrote a lot of solo music and actually wrote some really brilliant duets. And tonight, Quentin Caluart and David Shivers, they're going to play one of my favorite duets. I used to play this guitar duo many, many years ago. The Souvenir of Russia, Opus 63 by Fernando. And it's such a long piece, we've actually condensed it down to, they're going to play the intro, the theme, and then variations 1 through 7 for us tonight. Okay.
Before they play, let me give you a couple of last-minute announcements as we're getting ready to get out of here. We will not have a live lesson tomorrow or next week. Yeah, no live lesson next week. Our next live lesson will be December 3rd, and we will be learning a holiday song, a Christmas song at that time. And so I'll try and post it up on our discussion board on that. If you haven't logged in, go to guitargathering.com. That will get you to our whole world, our community over there. And we've got all kinds of great helps over there, and there's people on the discussion board all the time asking questions and whatnot. And so it's a good community. It's all free for guitarists. We're there. We're on YouTube as you're watching us now. We are on Instagram as well. You can check out our Guitar Gathering on Instagram. You can connect with us on Facebook as well. So all of that is available to you to get around musicians that you need to get around. So thank you guys for being a part of this great night. It's always one of the best nights for live lessons. So we look forward to hearing the last song.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having these students back, because this really gives them an opportunity that beyond the classroom, a real life experience. And I just want to say thank you again on behalf of everyone that played tonight. So thank you so much.
It's a joy having you. It's a joy having you. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank all of you guys. Thank you guys online. Hey, keep up the great work in your music learning. Your music matters. Y'all's music matters. Keep up the great work in it. We will see you guys next time.